Howdy folks, Kirk and Jay here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Today I want to talk about stucco systems. Unless you're an architect or an engineer, you'll probably find this quite boring. We're doing the lath and I find it boring. I'd rather do stucco work. But I'm going to point out something. Now the architect who owns this house here, he says, well Kirk, we got a lot of racket with roads here and we're high up, we got high heat. So he put 2 layers of this board here. What is this? This is a thermos sheathing. Now he's got 2 layers of paper, then he's got 1 layer of this, and he got it staggered, and it's like that. That aids in, say, for heating, air conditioning, soundproofing. It's almost like straw bale house without having to do the straws. I'll show you what we did, because if I were to start papering and wiring this, everybody would click off. They'd say, Kirk, it's kind of a boring enough system, let alone for you to show us how to do it. Just tell us how you did it. I'll tell you guys how we did it. Now Jay and I and my brother Lou, what we did is we came here. Now how are you going to go through 5 inches? First of all, we temporarily tacked the paper on, 2 layers of paper. Then we put the 17 gauge wire. Can you use 18? Of course you could. Then what we did was we used these washers. We had to go buy these washers here. This looks like what you'd see on a pirate ship at the bottom of the ocean. Too bad they're not real gold coins. Then we went and got these 5-inch screws. Why 5-inch screws? We got to go through 3 inches of styrofoam plus the plywood and get into the stud. So 5 inches are the way, and we're just into the stud now. Why? To hold the shear weight for the stucco so we don't have any problems with it. How many systems are there, guys? This is just one system, and this is from an architect. Another architect we did, he said, Kirk, can you do Dry-Vit as well as 2 layers of paper? We said, sure. There's also the Dry-Vit system, which is styrofoam and pans of mesh. It's a system we used to use on hospitals and schools and things like that. There's also stow. No matter what system you guys want to use, you tell us, we'll figure out the best possible method to achieve that goal for the stucco. When we get ready to do the stucco, we'll actually show you some of that, because that's the fun part. But getting back to this stuff, he's got his 2 layers, and then he's got some butyl-based tape over that. He's got that screwed in. They went, you could say they went a bit overboard, but we like to see that. When we come over to a job, it's done well. What happens here, guys, where we have styrofoam right here and right here? It's similar to this right here, but right here and right here. How are you going to get a corner into that? We already figured out a way to do it, wondering what your guys' solution would be. Because if you use a 5-inch screw, you're going to be in styrofoam both ways, because we have 3 inches on each side. Anyway, we're just showing you some of the systems, and this is the original house. Wood, that's what we like. The rest of the house we're doing here. It's a pretty simple task as far as we're concerned. You don't get much simpler than this. It's just devising a way to attach it so that it could hold the shear weight of the stucco. Anyway, Jay mentioned I should explain something, and that's the EIFS system. The EIFS system is also, what does EIFS stand for? EFIS, Exterior Insulation Foam Finishing Systems. And that's where the foam, that's where Dry-Vit comes in. Dry-Vit come to this country in 1970 from Europe, and then Stow come. I'll explain the difference. Okay, this fella has imagination. I've never seen this system. We're using 5-inch screws just for the sake of example. We take that screw, we go in, the first 3 inches hit nothing. And then when you hit that last inch, then it goes into the stud, 3/4 of an inch, just like regular. Okay, now the EIFS system, which I even get a lot of people who say, Kirk, can you tell me the difference between EIFS and traditional stucco? This traditional stucco, this is going to be 3 coats. We're putting on 1 inch of stucco here. Here we're putting on 1 inch of stucco also, but the EIFS system it's a polystyrene board. last time I did it was about 35 years ago. And there's a story I want to tell about that. Anyway, you put the polystyrene on the walls. We did a Kaiser hospital off of Tennyson about 35 years ago. And anyway, you put the paper, one layer of paper back then you put the EIFS board or the polystyrene board. It's usually 1 inch thick. Then you put polybond and you take this panza mesh. This is real strong fiberglass mesh netting named after that tank that old Arnold used to drive, the Panzer tank from Germany. Anyhow, that is the Dry-Vit system or the EFIS system, and it's designed for high rises. It's less weight. It's 80% less weight. So we're going a totally different system here. It's not something I've done, but the fella here is an architect, and he's no joke. He is really good at what he does. He's got all kinds of awards. He's just a master architect. That's what he wants. Whatever folks want, we do. I'm going to point something out. This got nothing at all to do with stucco. And you say, why bring it up? Because it reminds me of the last day I did Dry-Vit. See these 6-footers? This is an extension. When you take the contractor test, it says, if you have a 6-footer, how wide do the legs open? The answer is 3, half the height. Anyway, that's another story too. We were working on the Kaiser Hospital 35 years ago, and we were working off of these, and we were rasping that polystyrene because we had to get it all flush in order for us to put the mesh netting on it and do that system. Anyway, I was working with a good buddy, a friend of mine, 35 years ago today. He's still a licensed contractor, a good buddy of mine. You guys ever injure yourself on a job? A lot of people watch what we do and they say, Kirk, my wrists aren't strong enough to do it. Or, yeah, I got back problems, I got this. Well, I'm going to tell you something about shock and injury, because I've had my share of shock and injury. We were working off of 6-footers like this, and we were in our 20s. So I was teasing him about his wife, saying a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't have been saying. Anyway, we're up working and we're planking out. And so finally, the madder he got, the funnier I thought it was. And so I'm laughing my ass off. And finally he tackles me, and this is onto the wall. And I said, hey, stop, watch out. And all of a sudden, the scaffold collapsed. We were clowning around. And the first thing a guy does when he falls is he thinks, man, don't hit your nuts. And so all the scaffolding fell. And so we both fell, and I thought I had landed well because my hand was like this, and this was on something. Then the plank came, a 12-foot plank like this. It went like this, blam, and hit my hand. My hand went here, here, and here. And I looked at it, and I went into shock. How many of you guys ever been in shock? Again, this has got nothing to do with stucco, but shock is, I was looking at my hand, I said, that's physically impossible for my wrist to go that way. And so my buddy was looking at me, he says, oh crap. And the first thing I said is, how am I going to bench press tonight? My hand looks weird. But it was broke, so I went into shock, meaning, he says, follow me. And so I just led like a lamb. We walked over to emergency Kaiser across the street. The doctor looked at it, and that's when the pain started and the shock ended. When that pain started, I'll tell you, if I was a spy and they were going to torture me, that's all they'd have to do. I'd sing like a canary because it was hurting so much. Tears were just streaming down my face. I was trying to be manly and not cry outright, but these tears were hanging. He's like, how you feeling? I said, look, that's how I'm feeling. So what he did is he put my fingers in this sling, like this Chinese handcuffs. He put it in here. Then he put all his weight right here. He put his whole body and let up slowly. And I was looking at him thinking, don't you have to cut my hand open right here and do all this surgery? And he says, no, that should do it. And he wrapped it up, put a piece of wood here. And I remember going home, I thought, oh, that's nothing. That doesn't even hurt. On the way home, the medication wore off, where he gave me a couple shots in my hand that did hurt like hell. anyhow, once that medication wore off, I was crying all the way home. Then I finally took a whole bottle of aspirin and tried to kill the pain and stuff they gave me. But the reason I'm bringing this up is how many of you guys worked through problems like that or injuries? I broke every bone here. All of them. Took me 6 months before I could use this hand again. I couldn't even cut wire. For the first 4 months, I had to cut with 2 hands like this. But this healed. They were retraining me. They said they had to retrain me because I'd never plaster again. And I thought, that didn't compute with me. I thought, of course I'll plaster again. But anyway, the question is, for folks who say, man, my wrists aren't strong enough or I'm injured, that injury kicked my ass when I was 20. And this injury here where I tore my shoulder, that took even longer to heal, but I was about 24, or actually I was young, like 18. So I just thought I'd bring that up because I'm thinking about Kaiser, I'm thinking about this fiber mesh and these 6-foot extensions. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. How many of you guys have dealt with injury like that where the shock takes away the hurt, but once the hurt comes back, or once the initial shock is over, man, that pain kicks your butt. Okay, let me finish what I started. Got sidetracked because I can. We are all done here, and you can see here what we're doing, and where this goes all the way around. We're not going to bore you any more than that topic I just talked about did. We're going here, there, all the way in the front. It's pretty cut up. I'm looking forward to the scratch and the brown, and then we're doing a color coat smooth finish. And we do these videos. I said, how'd you find me, Greg? And he says, through your videos. I wanted a smooth finish. I typed in smooth finish. Your videos came up, and I thought, cool beans. Anyway, my name is Kirk. Jason's on the camera. We thank you guys for watching, and as usual, we'll see you on the next one.
All right, folks, we want to thank you for watching how we do things in the stucco and plastering world. We really enjoy your questions and comments, so if there's anything you want to learn about that we can show you, please let us know in the comments. And as always, from the entire Giordano family, we'll see you on the next one.